friends, it's Julie. Welcome back to Row & Co Farms. So I wanted to talk to you guys today about Pantry Challenge. So I'm going to bring you the last week's footage that I have, which was breakfasts. And I wanted to talk about the week of breakfasts a little bit. So this week was really challenging for me. I don't eat breakfast. I've really figured out that I just don't eat breakfast most of the time. So it really forced me to make things for breakfast where I normally would not be eating breakfast most days. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing necessarily, but I did figure out that most of the time it's just me here and at breakfast time. My daughter is here doing school, but she does not come down for breakfast really either. She doesn't like to eat breakfast. So most of the time on a normal week, I would not be eating anything until probably around lunch. And that's fine with me. I'm just not usually that hungry, or most breakfast foods just aren't my first inclination. Like, I'm always thinking of something savory and I want something more lunch-like when I get ready to eat versus breakfast. So this was definitely pushing me out of my comfort zone a little bit. So I did make some different things, and I'm gonna show you all the stuff I made. I didn't do breakfast every day that week. I'm not gonna lie, guys. It was really hard for me to make breakfast in the mornings. Now, that's not to say that, like, on the weekends, if we're all here together, that we don't sit down and have a meal sometimes in the mornings, but we really just don't do a lot of big breakfasts. So it's just mainly me just making some little individual things for myself, or maybe for myself and my husband. So yeah, I hope you guys won't give me too much of a hard time about what's on the breakfast menu for this week, but I just really figured out that breakfast is just not my thing. I'm not gonna feel too bad about it. Just in the future, you know, when we do have breakfast foods, a lot of the time it's at dinner. So I still like breakfast food. I just don't always like to eat in the morning. So I guess that's the difference. So anyway, I just wanted to kind of talk about that a little bit and just let you guys know kind of what happened this week with the breakfasts. And actually, technically, when I'm filming this today, Pantry Challenge is over. The last week of Pantry Challenge, I actually did not film anything. So this will be the last video in the Pantry Challenge series that I did. And I'm gonna go ahead and after we show all the footage of the breakfast, I'm gonna talk about what I learned during Pantry Challenge, what I would do different, will I do it again, all that kind of stuff. So let's look at what we ate this week for breakfast, and then let's talk about our Pantry Challenge is and what we would and wouldn't do again. So today's pantry breakfast is going to be some organic yogurt sweetened with maple syrup. I'm going to put on some frozen organic sliced strawberries and a few of these pepita seeds that are roasted and salted. So that should be delicious. I'll show you what it looks like when I'm done. Well, this says it's still good, but it is not good. That is definitely too loose to be good. All right. I grabbed another container out of the fridge and ate that one instead. So this morning's pantry breakfast is going to be a smoothie with some frozen strawberries, a banana that's pretty soft, some chia seeds, coconut milk, some unsweetened coconut flakes, and some orange juice. Let's blend it up. our breakfast today. I shredded up some potatoes to make hash browns. We're gonna fry up some of this duck bacon, a few eggs scrambled, and then I have mixed up this corn cake batter with cornmeal and some gluten-free flour and a couple of other spices, and we're gonna have some corn cakes, which are just like pancakes but made with cornmeal instead of regular flour. They're a little bit savory versus sweet. It's like a cornbread but made like a pancake. All right, that's going to be our breakfast. So this morning's pantry breakfast is gonna be a hash brown that we just shredded a potato. We're gonna scramble some eggs and some onions, and we're gonna put all that into a wrap with some cheese and cowboy candy. All right, let's go fry up the hash browns and the onions. I started off by sauteing my onions, then adding the hash browns to the skillet. We gave them a nice little bit of seasoning and just got them nice and crispy and fried in the pan. Then I went ahead and scrambled my eggs, and then we assembled everything into our wrap. I really liked these wraps. It's definitely something that I would make again. I like the hash browns and all of the onions in there, and I like adding the cowboy candy to it. And I think next time I would add a little bit of salsa as well. And obviously I need to work on my burrito wrapping skills because they're terrible. So someone please help. Tell me how to wrap these burritos. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed those meals. Just a little twist on your normal, I guess your normal everyday breakfast. So let's talk about the whole pantry challenge and how it went. What were my feelings about it? Would I do it again? All those kinds of things. So let me do the quick rundown. The pantry challenge is done by the Three Rivers Homestead. Jessica is the one that started it, and she challenges her viewers and others to try not to go to the grocery store during the months of January and February. She also encourages you to just make your own rules for the challenge, do what works for your family. And so basically the rules that I had instilled for myself was really basic. I was just gonna try not to go to the store at all during January and February, with the exception of getting some dairy products. I did freeze some milk and things like that, but I wasn't sure if I was gonna be able to make it through on the dairy that I had starting out. So that was kind of the one stipulation that I had put on myself for the challenge, was I was just gonna try to shop my fridge, freezer, and pantry and not go to the store at all, with the exception of milk and half. Okay, so that did not happen. I did go to the grocery store one time, and that was about halfway through the challenge, and I did do a video about that as well, and I'll link that up here. But I went to the store because I had COVID for about 2 weeks during the challenge, and it really ran me down. I didn't go to the store during that time, but after that, I just really struggled to keep up. And so I was not feeling well enough to make a whole lot of meals. And so I did the best I could. But ultimately, I just kind of slacked and I went to the store, and instead of making things that I had challenged myself to make, like different snacks and stuff like that, I just went and bought stuff because I was just not feeling well enough to do it. So did I fail? Yeah, maybe, but not really, because it was just me that failed myself. But I didn't. I mean, I was ill and I just couldn't do it. And I'm not going to give myself a hard time for not being able to, make it that whole time. Would I have been able to make it with the things I had? Yes, I totally could have made it through. It was not a stocking items issue. More so, it was me just not feeling up to doing the challenge of making everything that I probably would have made if I would have had a little bit more energy and stuff like that. So that was one stipulation with that part, is that I did go to the store. I also did get one order of meat, and that was because I needed to order meat from this particular company. I had a certain time frame that I needed to do it, and so I went ahead and did it. I actually didn't use any of that meat during the pantry challenge, so I still feel like it's semantics, I didn't necessarily go to the grocery store. Did I buy food? Yes, I did buy food. But again, these are my rules for my own family, and so if I want to buy the meat, I bought the meat. So again, it's part of how we keep our pantries stocked, is to purchase meats and bulk items and things when we have the opportunity, when we can get them cheaper, or when we can get them at all. And some of the items that we purchase, especially the meats, like emu and duck meat and ostrich meat and stuff like that I order from a separate company. I have to order those when they're available to me. I can't always wait until a later date, because they have their own product availability schedules as well. So now when it comes to raising my own, that's a different story. I can grab what I need out of the freezer, but when it comes to those other meat products that I purchase from a farmer, I need to buy them when they're available. All right, so would I do pantry challenge again? Yes, absolutely. I kind of feel like that's kind of what we do anyway. We live out of those pantries and freezers. We try to bulk shop as much as possible. We try to grow our own food as much as possible. And so we usually, when we have a big batch of chickens that we butcher, we're going to have 30 or 40 chickens in the freezer at one time. And so we're going to continuously be using those all throughout the year and stuff like that. So I loved the pantry challenge. I will definitely do it again. I'm going to basically, I think the way I'm going to incorporate this into my normal day-to-day life is I just really want to cut back on grocery store visits altogether. They end up costing me a lot of money because I am a impulse buyer. I tend to not really make a list when I go to the store. I usually look around and see what looks good to me, and I try to purchase those things. And so there are a lot of impulse buys, and I need to try to get away from that and keep myself more on a budget when I'm at the store. And the other thing about not going to the store is I just don't necessarily want to fund mainstream grocery stores. I would like to really try to stay local, buy from local farmers as much as I can, then grow my own, of course, as much as I can, and really, really limit my trips to the store. I'm going to continue to use Azure Standard for all those bulk things that I can't grow myself, grains and pantry items, rice and beans and oats and those kinds of things. Meats, I would like to raise myself or get from that farm that I've told you about that I order from. And then vegetables, really, I want to grow what I can grow here or get it from someone local to me. I think that's just really important, and that is the main focus of Pantry Challenge for me, is trying to change my supply chain. That's been my focus, is altering where my food is sourced. I know everybody has seen all the trouble in the grocery store. It's hard to find all the things you need all the time. And so when you can find things now in a bigger bulk, a bigger quantity, you should really try to seize the opportunity. With inflation being what it is right now, if you can get today's prices versus next year's prices, you're going to be better off if you're able to do that. I know it's not always easy to do that, but yeah. Let's see. What else did I learn from this challenge? I loved it. I loved sharing the meals with you guys. I think that was a really fun part of the process. If you guys really enjoyed that, let me know, because I'm thinking about doing kind of a what we eat in a week series. It wouldn't be something I did every week, but it's definitely something that I could see doing a little bit more of, and sharing more of that, what we eat in a week, versus just like one meal here or one meal there, like a whole, 5 or 6 meals at once, or maybe what we eat in a day and do a full kind of day's worth of stuff. But yeah, I think I would like to share some of that with you guys, because I did have a lot of great feedback from the meals that I made. You guys seemed to really enjoy the stuff that I was cooking, and so I would love to share a little bit more of that with you all. So I think that's where we're going to be headed with future pantry challenge type stuff. And I think what I'll do is still call it a pantry challenge meal, because we're still pulling from our pantries, guys. That's what we do. I mean, that's kind of what we encourage everyone to do, is have that larder, that pantry of things where if you get a hankering for a certain type of food, you can make it. You have the stuff on hand to make those things. And that's my goal. That's been my goal for the last 10 years, is to be able to almost make any dish that my family asks for without having to go to the store. I think that's my new pantry challenge, is ask me if I can make it and see if I can, because I think that I really can make almost any dish. Maybe a few substitutions here and there, but a version of almost any dish. So yeah. Oh no, I spilled my tea. Okay guys, I'm back. I'm so sorry. I spilled my whole cup of tea in my lap, and it was very hot. I'm okay. It was not so hot that it burned me, but I had to get up really quickly and take my pants off. Sorry, that was too much information, and definitely it's not that kind of channel. So anyway, so let's talk about really quickly. So I did run out of a few items. I did run out of milk. I told you guys that I would probably run out of milk. So I did get milk that one time that I went to the store. And then I did have my daughter-in-law pick up a gallon of milk for me one time when she went to the store. So milk was one thing, and then coffee. I ran out of coffee, and I picked that up during my halfway through when I went to the store that one time. But yeah, that was a big hole that I need to make sure does not happen again, is running out of coffee. So I have already been to the Costco, and I have stocked up on coffee. I ordered some from Azure too. So I have coffee now to definitely last me for several months. That was, somewhere where I figured out that I had made a mistake in my calculations. So anyway, I encourage all of you to try to keep a pantry stocked with a couple months worth of food. It's a security blanket. It helps you feel like you're gonna make it in this world if something happens. It's like a savings account. I mean, you really have to look at it that way. For me, having 3 or 4 months worth of food on hand is crucial. I don't feel good unless we have that on hand. So I encourage you all to start to stock your pantries. Keep your things that you always cook and eat. Keep that on hand. Don't buy a bunch of stuff you don't eat. Buy the things you eat and keep those in your pantry. So I encourage you all to do that. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you enjoyed the pantry challenge. I would love to hear how your pantry challenge went. Please leave comments down below. Tell me what you did, what you would do different. Are you gonna do pantry challenge again? Yeah, I wanna hear all about your experience with this challenge. So All right, guys, I'm going to go now. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Please leave some comments down below, like and subscribe if you enjoyed our content, and I can't wait to see you guys next time here at Row & Co Farms.